Before we get into the video, do not forget to like, comment and subscribe. Now just before I start, I want to say I appreciate everybody that's watching these videos. Now that's all said and done, let's get down to it. Now when you think of who is the most prolific and dangerous criminal in British society, you always have to mention GP Harold Shipman. In a span that lasted decades, a once well-respected general practitioner murdered upwards of 250 patients by lethal injection. From 1975 to 1998, serial killer Harold Shipman, known to his pals as Fred Shipman, flew under the radar. He was a husband, a father, a business owner, a general practitioner, a reputable man with an impeccable bedside manner. Now, experts believe that Shipman first found the idea to murder people via lethal injection at just 17 years old. Shipman, who's a Nottingham native, had to watch helplessly as his mom, whom he was close with, developed lung cancer. And on her deathbed, experts say that 17-year-old Shipman, whom excelled at both academics and sports, watched doctors administer morphine in order to ease their patients' pain. Instead of murder, experts speculate that Shipman thought of the idea of killing his victims as nothing more as easing their pain and suffering, but he was nothing more than a sadistic killer trying to play God. He had a God complex. Now, after Harold Shipman's mum died, Shipman threw himself into his studies, and he became a medical student at Leeds University. From there, he married Primrose Oxtoby, and they had 4 children together. From the outside looking in, this was a picture-perfect family. Couple that with the fact that Shipman got a job as a junior doctor and then became a general practitioner at a doctor's surgery in West Yorkshire. But by 1976, Shipman was forging prescription slips for strong painkillers like Demerol. He was an addict, a junkie, and when the board found out, Shipman was reprimanded. He was fined and was told to go to rehab, and he was fired from his job. Now, under normal circumstances, a medical professional would not be able to resurface in the medical field after committing such a shameful crime, but Shipman bounced back better than ever. Dr. Harold Shipman was back at work at Donnybrook Medical Centre by 1977, and that was where he spent his next 15 years practicing medicine before setting up on his own and his own practice in 1993. Again, his patients relied on him, they trusted him, and they catered to his godly ego. But little did they know he had already begun to kill his patients. The first murder was committed in 1975. The victim was 70 years old, Eva Lyons. She was killed a day before her birthday. Now, during that period of time, Shipman was an addict, and he had enough diamorphine to kill literally hundreds of people. And even though he had been found guilty of forging prescription slips, he was only given a warning. According to police, Shipman went on killing sprees in droves throughout the years. When neighbouring medical centres were worried at the alarming rate Shipman's patients were dying, as opposed to their own, he would slow down the killings until police finished their questioning, and then it would start all over again. Shipman's oldest victim was 93-year-old Anne Cooper, and his youngest victim was a male, 41-year-old Peter Lewis. And in order to throw suspicion off himself, Harold Shipman would write false diagnoses in their medical files. But the crap hit the fan when he killed the former mayor of Hyde, 81-year-old Kathleen Grundy. All the deaths came by lethal doses of diamorphine, but Dr. Harold Shipman tried to get Kathleen Grundy cremated, and he also erased her will and writ a new one which stated that Dr. Harold Shipman would be entitled to her entire estate. Her daughter contested the will, and then she informed the police of foul play. The police actually investigated Shipman on a number of occasions, and they missed so many opportunities to stop the hundreds of killings. All they had to do was check if Harold Shipman had any prior criminal history. If they only checked, they would have found he had a history of forging prescription slips, and the line of inquiry would have been opened. Former Mayor Kathleen Grundy's body was exhumed, and police found traces of diamorphine in her muscle tissue, and Shipman was then arrested on September 7th of that year. 11 further bodies was then exhumed, and again police found traces of diamorphine. When Harold Shipman was arrested, he refused to cooperate, and whenever police provided pictures of his victims, Shipman would close his eyes or yawn. He was charged with the murder of 15 people, but police believe he murdered 171 females and 44 males. In 2000, Shipman was handed a life imprisonment, with a recommendation that he would never be released. He was incarcerated in a Manchester prison, but ended up in Wakefield Prison in West Yorkshire, where he took his own life. On the day before his 58th birthday, January 13th, 2004, Shipman was found hanging in his cell, and rumours say he decided to kill himself because he wanted to make sure that his wife was able to cash out the life insurance policy. Stay safe,